Welcome to the Third and Long Weekly Recap, the show where we talk fantasy football. Today, we'll be going over the winners from the past week, talk to our lower scorer, talk some key games and notable injuries. We'll also be taking a look at everyone's first round picks and see if it was a boom or a bust. And then we'll wrap things up looking ahead at week 2 matchups. So, things off. Congrats goes out to Riley Reid Option, Gum Soup, Knocking on Heaven's Door, Team Mercado, Backwoods Hamburglers, and
Oh, hi, Mark.
on your week 1 wins. Congratulations. Now, as for our lowest score of the week, we had the Cleveland Flex Offenders putting up only 88.5 points. Now, for this particular fantasy football player, it was quite surprising to see such a low score. And now when I reached out for comment, he really had nothing to say. He simply said, "I lost," followed by no further comment. So here's to hoping that he finds himself a favorable matchup this week and can secure a win. Moving right along into some actual football, talk about a crazy week 1. We started things off with Josh Allen and the Bills whooping defending Super Bowl champs, the Rams. Then Sunday brought a lot of action. We had a downpour of a game at Soldier Field, where we saw Fields lead the Bears to their first win of the season. We even had 2 overtime games. First, Colts and Texans, which ultimately ended in a tie. So they're both 0-0-1. And then we had a kicker's frenzy of a game between the Steelers and Bengals, where the Steelers ultimately took the win. And finally, we wrapped things up with Russell Wilson facing his old team in Seattle, where there was no love lost as the Seahawks edged the Broncos out and took the win. Next, we have some notable injuries that are going to impact week 2. First, we have wide receiver T. Higgins, who suffered a concussion on Sunday. Reports from the Bengals camp says that things are looking up, so we could be seeing the field in their week 2 matchup against the Cowboys. Now, speaking of the Cowboys, Dak Prescott can't seem to avoid the injury list. This time, he has to go under the knife to fix his throwing hand. And he'll most likely be seeing around week 8 or 10 football, but the Cowboys are keeping him off IR, with the coach hoping that he comes back within the next 4 games. Brandon Bolden left the Raiders game with a hamstring injury. He was able to haul one in for the Raiders in their 19-24 loss against the Chargers, and it's still unclear if he'll be available for week 2. Mac Jones supposedly sustained a back injury during the Patriots' loss to the Dolphins. Initial x-rays have come back negative, and the situation will continue to be monitored. Now, a big loss for the Steelers defense that accumulated 7 sacks, 4 interceptions to include a pick 6, and the blocked field goal that sent them to overtime. TJ Watt left the game with a torn pec, but he took Twitter yesterday saying that he'll be returning later in the season. Finally, Elijah Mitchell, running back for the Niners, will be missing 2 months due to a sprained MCL. At best, he'll be able to return in time for their November matchup against the Chargers. Now, with our league being deep, I wouldn't be surprised to see some trades happening during this week, leading up to all the Sunday matchups. Now, we move on to first round boom or bust, where we're going to be looking at the players taken in the first round and see how well they performed. So first, we have Jonathan Taylor, Jay Jettis, DeAndre Swift, Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs, and Devontae Adams, all putting up great performances that saw a majority of them scoring around 25 points, 6 of those points coming from touchdowns. As for worst performances for number 1 picks, we have Derrick Henry and Austin Eckler, who both couldn't seem to find their running shoes for their games. Now, is this something that fantasy owners should be worried about? I think it's too early to say. And, they'll be expected to perform in week 2. All that being said, as we look into week 2, there are ironically 2 matchups that we should be watching. First, we have Team Mercado versus Let's Get Swifty. Team Mercado put up the most points in week 1, so the pressure's on him to have that same high level of performance. Second, we have Oh Highmark versus Coronado Bridge Top Butt. Oh Highmark is a new player to the league and boasted the 2nd highest score in week 1. But his week 2 matchup sees him facing a former champion in the Third and Long League, so it'll be fun to see if the new blood can bring down the vet. That'll be all for the Third and Long Weekly Recap. Thank you for tuning in. Good luck to everyone in your week 2 matchups. Until next time, this is Commissioner signing off.